The greatest jewel found on earth is the human eye. Quote by D.C. Butler. Welcome back to episode 8, The Earth and Its Living Library. I am your host, D.C. Butler, on the Higher Sense podcast show. So thankful to be introducing you to some amazing concepts. I know we've gone through a lot of material. We're starting to stretch our minds out of the linear field, headed to our divine inheritance of the quantum field. So for the ones that have been following along, I want to really dive into the human body and how we can improve its function so that we can excel this process that we're in, bringing the immortal body out with our already eternal soul that resides within this body. So I'm going to bring a couple of concepts, expand on some other things we've talked about, and really dive into what is being done to our bodies and then what we can do to take that next step and open up the human potential. You are not an employee of the earth. You are a benefactor of the universe. You have been given co-creator abilities once you accept your power. I want to tell a little story about what made Alexander the Great. Why was he great? So Alexander the Great, he scoured the known world at the time to find the history of our universe. He brought this together and put it in the library of Alexandria. Alexandria was in Egypt. It's northern Africa. Now, Alexander the Greatest would have made 2 libraries so that we could still obtain this information today, because there was a ruthless band of marauders called the Knights of Malta who came and ransacked this magnificent vault of material that would tell us where we were, where we had been, and where we were going. But this group wanted to hold on to this information for themselves. And now that material is sitting in the vaults below the Vatican. And the Knights of Malta had their name rehabbed in the 1000s to make them look like a Shriners group. But they were not. So what is the human potential? 1 gram of DNA holds 700 terabytes of information. This equals 70 billion books. You are designed to know everything from the beginning of your quantum fluctuation of light that opened your Stargate 13.7 billion years ago. And you can retain all that information. It's called the Akashic Records. It's the history of all the timelines that can exist. And you're designed to house that information in your soul DNA. And you do. And you can tap into this. This is part of your divine inheritance. So I want to talk about the fall. We've heard there was the fall of man in history books and in the Bible. But what does this mean? We're told that there were some angels that went rogue, and what does all of this mean? Right? I think I've mentioned before, we're getting out of this linear field. Let's not be trapped in a box any longer. So, angel, human, alien, we are all of that at some point in time, space, and relativity. And timelines, not the linear past, present, future that we are allowing ourselves to be disillusioned by. So, how do we improve our bodies to clean up so that we can realize our divine inheritance and activate it? Well, we need to know how that soul comes in. It comes in through the pineal gland. Let there be light. That's you. You're a light being. The only thing that truly exists is light, sound, frequency, vibration. These vibrations ride energy waves, and these waves fold over into themselves, and you can get matter, right? And part of the separation is you are in at least two separate locations. Let's start with that today. So part of your conscious soul is in Eden, or the quantum realm, or heaven, whatever you want to call it. Your other half is here in this thick density material world, carbon-based. Now, your eyes allow light in, just like your pineal gland allows light in. And this light transforms these energy waves into your perceived reality. That's why it's very important to try to shut the eyesight down and go in deeper to some of the more sacred senses. We know about the five senses. Your sixth sense is intuition. Your seventh sense would be a type of cellular breakdown and reabsorption. That's going to come in handy with the ninth sense, which would be teleportation. I posted how teleportation would work on the Higher Sense Facebook page, if you're interested in reading that. And then your eighth sense would be telepathy. That's 9 out of your 25 sacred senses. Part of the fall, where we've de-evolutionized. Well, we didn't. There's a modification to the codes that have occurred. We're going to go over that a little bit later. So most people have smartwatches now. Fitbits, Apple Watches, Garmin's. Now this device picks up information coming from your body. And how does it do that? If you notice, you'll see light sensors that come on the back, and that obtains information. Light is information. Remember I told the story about how if you're in a dark space and you feel uneasy, you turn on the light and that gives you information, which is a calming effect. So the watch uses these light sensors to pick up your biometrics. Well, that's how your pineal gland works. You have an eyeball-shaped organ. It's part of the endocrine system called the pineal gland. It's a pine cone. They've got this thing adorned outside the Vatican. There's a big pine cone-shaped statue of the pineal gland. They know how important this thing is. Hopefully you do after this episode. So the pineal gland is an eyeball shape that allows light to come in to the body. Well, the pineal gland's in the center of your brain. So where is this light coming from? It would be coming from an ethereal realm, a lighter density where your other part of your soul is, in Eden or the quantum field or heaven, whatever you want to call it. It's all in the language. We've been really going through the language because that's so important. You need to learn the old languages. You need to know how to manipulate the language, how you're being manipulated by the language, and then you need to learn the future language so we can move on from this density, give up our fascist jobs, garden, love, hang out, and not work for man's laws any longer. So let's talk about why a lot of us are not awake. Why are we not receiving that information from our other part of our soul, right? It's that voice in your head. That voice in the head is you. It's your other aspect of you that's in the higherly realms. That's what the books are saying, on earth as it is in heaven, right? The firmament, a mirror image, as above, so below. These sayings are there for a reason. I call it the righteous remnant, right? I told y'all, you can take that Bible, close it, it ends with a period, throw the Egyptian Bible to the left, throw the Greek Bible to the right, and let's focus on the teachings of Jesus, Isis, Yeshua, right? Was Yeshua one person? Was Yeshua a group of people? Maybe the Essene community? Let's expand our consciousness and get real and stop being manipulated. So the pineal gland can be walled off and corrupted by four things. Well, lucky most of you live in America because those four things are being pushed at a high rate. They're not being allowed in other countries. Europe, the Netherlands, parts of the Middle East, Asia, they know better. But our CDC, FDA's bought and paid for, so you're getting aluminum put in your sky. Aluminum helps seal off your pineal gland so that you can't attain your divine inheritance. Wake up in the morning, look up in the sky. You've been trained to look at your watch and look at your phone and the television, anything but looking into the sky and seeing what's really going on. I never had basket weaves in the sky. You're telling me jets were taking off everywhere with this smoke coming out of them in the shape of a basket weave? Get out of here. They're putting aluminum in the sky. The aluminum's falling. It's changing the pH of your soil. And they're telling you, oh, we're trying to work with global warming, so we're trying to reproduce the effects of a volcano. So when a volcano goes off, it puts off a shimmery cloud that doesn't allow the sun's rays to come in, and they bounce back, and it creates a cooling effect underneath that cloud. So that's the BS that they're telling you, if you're smart enough to even ask. So aluminum, that's stage one. Now glyphosate. Sorry, I'm having trouble with that word. Anyway, it's a spray that they put on everything. Monsanto, you've heard this. They have a lawsuit out for Monsanto that creates cancer. It's an ongoing lawsuit, and the product is still out. What's up with that? So, because of this, let's see if I can say it, glyphosate. That may be close. This is killing your soil. So, what do we do with dead food? Your food is coming dead because they're putting this garbage on it, because the FDA is allowing this to occur. We need to wake up and take back control. This is enough. So, in the short term, and I hope it's very short term, here are 5 supplements you need to be taking or consuming with your food to help with this BS poor soil from this word I can't even say. I think I can't say it because it aggravates me so much. So number 1, you need to be on a good quality B complex. Your Bs are going to help improve your nervous system. Some other things you can take for your nervous system are a ginseng, but you're only going to want to take that for like 2 weeks at a time and then take a 2-week break. You don't want that to build up in your system too much. Another one, very popular right now, it's a neurotropic, and it helps restore damaged neurons and actually produce new ones. It helps with these dendrites. These dendrites are what dries up and creates Alzheimer and dementia, which weren't around until the 70s. And that's funny because we got all these cholesterol medicines, and cholesterol is bad. Well, your brain is made up of myelin, and that's 90% cholesterol. So let's move on from there. So number 2 is magnesium. Magnesium is going to create a calming effect to allow you to go out of the sympathetic, which is the fear state that our society is set up to keep you in. That's the fight or flight, so that you're always on edge, right? So magnesium helps relax the muscles, help with stress, helps you put in a parasympathetic state. We talked about this with also the way the vagus nerve connects the soul to the body. And if you grin really big, it activates the muscles in your face, which create a release of a hormone that it activates the vagus nerve, goes from your brain to your gut, creates a serotonin uptake, and that creates that uptake goes to your brain, relaxes you, puts you back in that parasympathetic state, that Zen state. So some ways to get magnesium. You can do spray directly onto a certain area if you're having some muscle tension. Creams, Epsom salt. Something I do every morning is, there's a verse in the Bible where Jesus says, "You are the salt of the earth. What do you do if you lose your salt? You put it back in your body." They have some salt from the Dead Sea called light gray Celtic sea salt. It has 82 minerals in it, 3 of which are different types of magnesium, which is a water-hungry molecule that allows the cellular wall to be permeated with water. So you can hydrate your cells at a very high rate. Then you're not just pissing the water out. You're absorbing it. Let's see, omega-3s. So omega-3s are fish oils. Omega-3 and 6 used to be pushed really strong together. But omega-6s, you do not want a high number of that. You want your omega-3s higher. Omega-3s are going to be like in your salmon. Man, I'm not doing very good with the words today. I'll try to be better. That's a very high content, a fatty fish. So you can also, I'd take a brand called Whole Foods 365, the omega-3 with the triglycerides, lemon flavor. Straight fish oil is not so great, so that lemon helps cut that aftertaste pretty good. You can thank me later. So these omega-3s, the new buzzword around the medical field. Sorry, I said that a little antagonistic, maybe? Resolvins. Resolvins are your natural anti-inflammatories that are released in the body. These omega-3s release these. They're the macrophages. These are part of the white blood cells and the immune system. And this is the part that controls the anti-inflammatory responses. So, you're inflamed, increase your omega-3s. Stay in a parasympathetic state, breathing, smiling, hugging, taking magnesium. Okay, the next 4 and 5, the vitamins you should be taking because our soil is garbage, is vitamin D and K2. These are very important for bone health and calcium absorption. If you're low on these, then your body will start siphoning calcium out of the bones and it will create brittle bones and you will collapse and break something, and that'll be what takes you out. Let's not get taken out. Let's improve so that we can seize back our divine inheritance from the foulness that has entrapped us for eons. Okay, there's also 8 habits that we can start doing to improve your body. Don't smoke. Just don't smoke. It's going to dehydrate you. And it's just not good for you. Regular walking. The best exercise you can do is 20 minutes barefoot. As you walk barefoot, you are walking on uneven ground, hopefully on the grass. You're absorbing nutrients through your skin as you're stepping in there. The earth is pulling these negative ions out of your body. You can also hug a tree. That'll pull negative ions. You can also love on an animal. Have them sit in your lap. Pet them. They run around and get rid of your negative energy. And then they come back and they absorb it. That's why cats sleep so long. I had to get 2 cats for my wife. She's going to love that. Let's see. Number 3 is no grains. You need to be eating whole foods. Genesis 1:28. The seed bearing, nuts, fruits, vegetables. There were no barbecue grills or pots and pans in the Garden of Eden. So let's eat live foods. Meats weren't given to the people until after the flood. If you don't know, there was a covenant with some god and Shem, Ham, and Japheth that said, oh, now you can eat the land-bearing animals. But don't forget, bring us your first and barbecue it for us. I mean, sacrifices on an altar so it's a pleasing smell of incense to your God. When my neighbor cranks up his grill, it's a pleasing sense to me too. That meat charring on a grill. Okay, restorative sleep is number 4. You need to get 8 hours of sleep. It's very important. In the Garden of Eden, you went with the cycle of the sun. When the sun went down, you went to sleep because it was too dark to see and do anything. So 8 hours of sleep. The first 3 hours of sleep, you have what's called a glymphatic brainwashing that occurs and cleans the amyloid plaques. All that garbage aluminum they're putting in the sky, these heavy metals, that cleanses it the first 3 hours of sleep. It dumps it into your lymph nodes underneath your chin and neck. That's why people's lymph nodes are so swollen all the time, because of the crap they're putting in the sky. Okay. Stress management. So breathing, going for a walk, having a pet, taking yourself out of civilization that keys you up. If you got a job that keys you up, do something else. Don't be chained to this any longer. What you seek is seeking you. The fix is within you. You were given co-creator status. That means you create your environment, your civilization, your destiny. Let's get your body cleaned up so that pineal gland can get the light in instead of your stupid watch telling you how bad your body is because of the crap they're putting in it. Let's get the good stuff back in from your ethereal body in Eden. Okay, positive social connections. So, positive people in your life, positive animals in your life, positive environments. Very important. No opioids. Opioids will mess you up. That's why they were pushed so long ago. Well, I guess still. I know a lot of people started dying, what was it, late 90s, early 2000s. It was like just crazy, especially down here in South Louisiana. They made a documentary about it. There was I don't remember the name of the documentary. The guy was out of New Orleans. He was a pharmacist, and he popped the top off of it. He's like, this is crazy. There's people out the side and down the sidewalks of this building where this doctor's just writing opioid, Xanax, Somas, all cash practice. I think they raided this doctor's house and found several $1 million stuck in the walls, just shoved all around the house because they didn't know what to do with the money. Killing everybody in their region for money, for what? And then this study that I read said minimal alcohol. I would say no alcohol. It's up to you, but I would stress that no alcohol. It's going to dehydrate you. I believe water's the only element that crosses the metaphysical and physical realms. So you want to be a celestial body and have 72% of water. You don't want to be dehydrated from smoking and drinking alcohol. When the moon phases, if you have 72% of water in you, you would rise with the tides, right? If you don't have water in you, your blood's going to boil and you're going to end up with the sheriff's office knocking on your door because you acted like an ass. Okay. So, something extra that I do on top of this, I started this, maybe like a year and a half ago. So you've got millions of these neurons firing off in your brain. And in between them, there's literally these little lightning occurrences happening with the synapse, right? So I started taking high spun monoatomic gold because when I was a kid, we wanted a good stereo system. You got gold plated wires because it's a superconductor. Well, if I want to tap into that unlimited wealth of DNA inside of you, those grams, those terabytes, Well, I put gold in my system. It creates a superconduction. Now I just bumped up my RAM processing speed. Now I can read like 3 books a night and retain it all, and then I can come and tell you about all these evil people doing these bad things to us so we can get out of this. All right, so the fall of man, it was a genetic modification to our codes. So the future is the activation of the 10 dormant DNA helices in the human body. They are referred to as junk DNA by scientists. 12 DNA helices. We only have 2 right now. Do you remember the story in the Old Testament? The 12 tribes of Israel and the lost 10 tribes, and we only have 2 tribes remaining? That's that righteous remnant that I'm talking about. It's the code that we left for ourselves, the breadcrumbs, so we could wake up and realize what had occurred to us. So if you want to do some reading on that, you can go to my book, and I've got 2 different studies here. One is in PubMed, February 9, 2023. It's a conformational switch in Clathrin light chain regulates lattice structures and endocytosis at the plasma membrane of mammalian cells. And then the other one is November 15th, 1988. This is in the Journal of Biological Chemistry. Structure of human Clathrin light chains. So there are literally 10 dormant Clathrin light chain filaments waiting to be activated. You know, in Revelations it says, oh, there's going to be a sound that occurs. Well, a sound would be a vibration. Would that be what the masses need to wake up and activate these DNA helices so that we can get back our 25 sacred senses and we can ascend and expand out of the linear field of the 3rd dimension into the quantum field, the heavenly realm, the Eden? I hope so. Okay. Let's see, I've also got something to tell you about. We have 23 chromosomes from mom, 23 chromosomes from dad. That equals 46. We're supposed to have 48. 2 chromosomes were removed. So if you check your DNA, I don't know if anybody's ever done the 23andMe. It shows you everybody goes back to, I believe, Nigeria, a spot in Africa. Neanderthal man goes back like 425,000 years. And then we see a change about 260,000 years later. Adama, right, comes on, the Homo sapien sapien. That is the current humanoid, us, with, I believe, the perfect Merkaba spacesuit that we can expand and ascend with, the immortal body. And I'm going to tell you in a few episodes how that can be done. Okay, so chromosome 2. Ooh, I really want to talk about this, but I have a study here. This is volume 8, page 222 through 228, article 32. It's the proceedings of the International Conference of Creationism. I'm trying to see if I can find a year on this. I'm not seeing a year. But they're trying to debunk this chromosome 2. I don't know if anybody's heard of this, but there's some controversy about this chromosome 2. Now, this study, if you go to page 2 of this 8-page study, they're talking about over a 3 to 6 million year process where we went from chimpanzees to Neanderthal man, but that's craziness. That's not what occurred. You can read and make up your own decision, but I'm telling you, that's not what occurred. So, chromosomes, they range from 5,000 to 15,000 in sequence. Now, chromosome 2 was spliced, and in the middle of this sequence, it was capped with these telomere caps. Telomere cap is kind of like the ends of your shoestrings. So you had two of these, and it was capped at 798. Well, this is your longevity chromosome. We were genetically modified to only live 120 years around 260,000 years ago. Please look into these studies. Let's wake up. There's 144,000 pyramids on Earth. There's 144,000 pyramids on Mars, and there are 144,000 pyramids on Venus. The Earth is 4.6 billion years old. Our galaxy, universe, the Milky Way, is 13.7 billion years old. And in the Western world, we're taught Columbus discovers America in 1492. People were waving at him from the shore and he discovered it. Get out of here. Okay, so let's see. We went through the chromosome sequence. I think that's pretty good stuff. Really good stuff. All right. So, human potential is unlimited. You just have to give yourself permission to ignite this. You are a fragmented essence of the original creator for his creation. You are just supposed to human be and allow the creator to work through you, because the infinite being created infinite variety for infinite experiences. The God of the universe is I am. Jesus tells you I am. And I went through, if you haven't looked this up, Google it. I'm going to be on YouTube at some point, and I'll be able to show you some graphs, and you can see my face. See why I can't say Earth. I was going to name this episode Earth, but I can't say it because of these braces, so I changed the name up a little bit so I could say it easier. Just being transparent with you guys. So, where was I? Creator of the universe. Oh, yes. So, Yud Shin Vav Ayin is Yeshua in Hebrew. Now, if you Google Yeshua, how it's spelled, and Google Yeshua in the right hand. So if you look at your right hand, the thumb is the Yud. The three middle fingers are the Shin. The pinky ring is the Vav, and the Ayin is your wrist and lower part of your hand. So Yeshua, which means salvation, is in the right hand. Well, in the Bible it says salvation sits at the right hand of God. Go look in a mirror, raise your right hand, and what is to the left of your right hand? I am. We've heard that before. And this is, again, it's not sacrilegious. I'm not saying that I'm the creator of the universe. I'm saying I'm a fragmented essence of the creator of the universe. Because if it was anything else, you would lose it for good. You're just having an amnesia experience. So let's wake up to this fact. Raise your vibration. As we raise our vibration, we do away with these knuckleheads that are putting these man's laws on us, and these Egyptian gods and these Greek gods and these jerks that are hiding all the information in the bottom of a vault. So, let's end on a happy note. I've been happy the whole time. I'm just having fun with y'all. I hope you're enjoying it. So the God of the universe is a frequency, and the chemical responses that keep the body in homeostasis are vibrations. The seed for your utopian earth is sown through love. Love is the vibration that will bear the fruit in all things that you seek. The future is the next moment in time from your current soul consciousness. To live your life happy ever after is to live your life happy in the moment. Okay, guys, episode 8. The Earth and its living library. That living library is you. So, smile big, drink your water, walk barefoot, hug people to share that vibration, breathe deep to feed that soul. And this podcast is pretty good, so I guess you could share this with your friends. All right. Love to all. I will catch y'all next time. Good night.